parameters for determining those who offend the law. And these are already clear. The way in which one walks, dresses, or talks, which is deemed provocative or likely to cause sexual excitement. Anything that provokes, stirs, or creates unnecessary sensitivity. And so in some of the placards that the women were raising in the protest that I will get to, women actually addressing this. We are not sexual exciters. We're not targeting any excitement on your behalf. Another one where Lokodo is quoted, he says to the press, and he's addressing all women in Uganda, not the men, just the women. We do not like you to behave in a way that draws the attention of other people. Be decent and let your clothes show you as a decent person, Lokodo said. Asked to draw precise indecency lines, the minister said, if you are dressed in something that irritates the mind and excites other people, especially of the opposite sex, you are dressed in wrong attire, and please hurry up and change. Go home and change. And because of the humorous sort of response that his problematic quotes elicited, the public media played them and replayed them over and over again. And so in terms of framing the main legislator who is presenting and introducing his bill, his law, to the Ugandan public, he's already just feeding any waiting patriarchs, misogynists with material to go and beat up women and address them. I want to talk about consecutive distortions of the text because often people were asking, but what does the bill say? What does the law say, right? And rather than refer to the text and definitions that I've given you about pornography within the law that was tabled for Uganda, people began talking about decency and indecency and morality, right? And so new texts were quoted, and people would say, but that is what the legislation is saying. That is what the legislators are debating in Parliament. It became nothing to do with censoring the production of knowledge, and it became about controlling women's bodies. And what is embarrassing is that these uncritical representations of the new law, so this law that was made up in public discussion, became widely circulated in the public media, became widely circulated in local languages. So translation from Uganda of the distortion, translation into other local languages, and then circulated a lot to audiences who did not read but took it as the word of Parliament, right? And so debate was no longer about the actual bill or the actual text of the law, but it was around these rumors and falsities and distortions and manipulations that were they were engineering something, they were programming something within Ugandan society. I want to talk about scholars actually, because while we can excuse the public media and social media commentators, I'm an hacktivist. I call myself a hacktivist because I do a lot of hacktivism on Facebook, much more than Twitter. But while we can excuse the level of, or lack of level of discussion and critique within public media and social media, scholars also mimicked the distortions and misrepresentations. So in my paper, I quote 6 local Ugandan scholars, so not even foreigners. We might excuse the foreign professors from doing this, but these are 6 local Ugandan who could have read the handset or the law. And I will not name them just in case there's some in the room, but in the paper I quote them word for word, and they are quoting the new text that is formed that is not the text of and they have published in academic journals. Okay? So just to say, yes, like if people want references, I can share the paper, but I will not name the culprits. I think that the other way, so going away from bodies of knowledge and how we think through how knowledge becomes knowledge and how it's valued, arrests of women then became kind of obvious. The police began to arrest women who were deemed indecently dressed, and they were doing this for 2 reasons. One, to save the women from their indecency, right? But the other was to save the women from mob justice and violence that was being perpetrated upon their bodies because they were deemed to be dressed indecently. And the police in both cases justified their actions as protecting either the woman from herself or protecting her from society, and therefore curing the moral fabric of Uganda. Okay, so the police in Uganda are not very highly educated. Judges, we have reports about 3 different penalizations of court officers who came in dressed. One was dressed in trousers, 2 were dressed in clothes deemed too short. They were penalized by judges, and a judge and a magistrate, based on this law, which does not address women's dressing at all. And so in terms of becoming formalized public bodies of knowledge, even the judges and the police acted, following from the public media and social media from these distortions that were done by misogynists. Right. A number of arrests happened, like I said. Women who were dressed indecently were thrown to the public, but also thrown into cells where their abuse continued. One woman called Patience Akumu Sunshine, who is the key element of my presentation, is a woman who organized what we call the End Miniskirt Harassment Initiative, right? This is taken from the Facebook profile page of the End Miniskirt Harassment Initiative, and her story is a story that I'm going to start with as I get into my conclusion, how the resistance was put up. Patience Akumu Sunshine is not a poor woman. She is not an illiterate woman. She does not live in the village. She lives in Kampala city, actually, a capital city. She is a lawyer who writes also for the public media, and she's a mother of 2 children. One morning, she dressed in a spaghetti top. Spaghetti top, yeah? And shorts. And she went to the market with her kiondo, with her sisal bag. And this was during the period when the law had just been passed by Parliament. Just before that, we had been having extensive debates on public media around why the miniskirt, why are people targeting the miniskirt? While she was in the market, Patience's top was torn from her and she was threatened with beating. She was also pushed and manhandled, and she had to get onto a border. We have public motorbike. Okay, people know. Does everybody know what a border is? No. Are there people who don't know what a border is? Okay, so everybody knows what a border is. So public motorbike taxi, and she was taken away. Actually, her punishers are the ones who revealed perhaps her breasts and other body parts deemed to be indecent. Patience then wrote on Facebook, "This is what happened to me," and she showed us her spaghetti top that she was wearing. Right? So this little bit here. So the last picture here is an example of a woman we have what we call, you have taxi ranks, we have taxi parks, which is lots of minivans congregating in one place, and lots of passengers as well. This young woman was undressed on her way to work in a taxi park. So we try not to show graphic pictures of the women being punished for their sort of clothing, but what is interesting is that there's so many people around and there's so many men around, and she could not enter a taxi, but they leave you exposed long enough for public media who would come and take pictures and write stories about you. Patience did not suffer that sort of harassment, but she'd been aware of these conversations we were having and aware of such pictures. What she did was then to call and say, on Monday I'm going to go to the police to get permission for women to march against this violation that's happening to our bodies. And we planned to have a demonstration running from the university, Makerere University, one of the gates, through a part of the suburbs and to the National Theatre where we would have a public media address. Now, when Patience went to the police station to ask that for permission for us to get police protection as we were having the demonstration, she was harassed again for her clothing. Okay. At the police station, she was beaten and her camera phone taken, as she was trying to get evidence of the man who was trying to assault her, right? And the reason why she was beaten is because when her dress was critiqued and criticized, she said to these people, there is nothing wrong with my dress. The law does not address my clothing. Right? You don't have any basis within the laws of Uganda to attack me. And so permission to demonstrate was withheld from us, and the demonstration was cancelled. However, we decided on a Wednesday to have a press media brief and address all the misogynistic patriarchs who are punishing us for our clothes in Uganda. We held the protest, the picture that I showed you, and the protest was really about coming together on our own because we didn't have police permission or protection to hold our demonstration. Let us congregate at the National Theatre because nobody needs permission to go to the National Theatre. We decided to congregate at the National Theatre, make placards, and we invited any journalists who wanted to speak to us about our issues to come and get the full story about the Anti-Pornography Act and bill. In my last few minutes, and which is the hard bit about thinking through this paper, in terms of resistance to sartorial punishment, so punishing women because of their clothes, I think that what I find most important is that while people denigrate what's happening in terms of hacktivism, social media-based activism because it's impotent and doesn't do anything, I think that the genesis of the protest began really in virtuous pieces. I didn't talk about the Save Miniskirt hashtag, but we put up a hashtag that was it was trending for a while, if anyone was looking at Uganda, and it was Save the Miniskirt hashtag. And the sort of debate and discussions that we got were some of the most, if anybody wants literature or data for analysis of feminists fighting misogynists, it is the material is there because it was social media, it was as virulent and hard-hitting as it can get. I think that we began to question even the legislature around what is the law really saying? Have you read the text of the law? And for us, what is shaming is that even women members of parliament often give us the other text as opposed to the text. So even the women who are in parliament raising issues, perhaps, they went to parliament because of the women's quota. They're not even conscientized enough about feminist principles and feminist issues and protecting women from women haters in parliament. We asked about where is the real morality or the real immorality? What are questions around morality? Who is being moral here, the kodo, or the woman undresser, or the woman who is innocently dressed? And we began to engage with the public about who should be policing who. Are the police who are beating up women and sending them out of public spaces? Do they have the moral authority to start policing us and arresting us and punishing us? I want to talk about the individual experience of leaders and coordinators. In terms of the women who came out to join the protest, many had actually either suffered public assault for indecent dressing themselves, or they were related to others, or they were connected to other women who had the experience. And for me, what is troubling is that there were very many other women organizations that did not come to the End Miniskirt Harassment protest. And some of these are feminist criminal